That's next. Alright guys, so there she is, the next project. Utility trailer. I got this trailer in order to haul my quads back and forth from where I ride. She hasn't been on the road in 7 years. As a matter of fact, just to get her here, I had to put a new tire on her. She needs a lot of love, guys. And you know what? I'm here to give a lot of love. Let's go see what she needs. Okay, so when it comes to a trailer build, obviously one of the first things you're going to look at is the deck. And the deck is a 3/4 inch plywood deck. She's old. She needs to be replaced. So the deck is definitely a must on this. Then if you're over at the front here, I have my wiring here. The wiring needs some help. But really, that's about it, is what I thought. So when I was bringing this trailer home, I thought it was to redo the deck, redo the wiring, call it good. But on the way home, I couldn't keep it in between the lines. So I brought it home, measured it, did a little Googling. The legal width for a trailer in the state of Michigan, max width is 102 inches. So we are at a max width here of 115 inches. So that's where this thing becomes my next project. Here's the game plan then. To de-widen this trailer is, if you look underneath it, actually, you know what? Let me show you underneath it. So now when you look underneath, you can kind of see there's very limited runners across this one. This one has quite a few, and then the other side has kind of the same situation. Very, very limited support in between those. So my thought is that's where it was actually added onto on each side. So that is what I'm going to have to do, is I'm going to remove that section on each side. Building this thing, starting off, you got to clean off your deck, which then allows you to be able to remove the deck. I did this I tried to remove all of the screws, but all the heads broke off, and then the trailer tipped around. Then I had little daggers laying around everywhere. So brute force, ooh, look how strong I am, pulling that off. Once the deck was off, time to remove the wiring, which is what I'm doing right here. And once everything was removed from the trailer, it was time to start grinding. And grinding. And more grinding. And then after I grinded there, I went over and I grinded all of these welds off there to get that skirt to remove off that side. And then I grinded some more. And then just for funsies, after I was done grinding there, I grinded right there. And once I got all this grind done, I was able to be a big strong man, and I was able to kick off that whole section right there. Okay, so if you've been following my channel at all, you've seen me weld with a Harbor Freight welder, and you've seen how ridiculous those welds have been. But borrowing a better welder, so look at this, and then look at this. Where'd it go? See, I'm not saying they're like the perfect welds, but they're much better than what I've done with the Harbor Freight welder. So I've got this section right here all re-welded in, all cut down. So I've taken about 6 inches out from this side. So now we gotta do this same thing on the other side now, and then we'll be about there. I am gonna have to weld the skirts back on because I'm an idiot. Okay, so now as you can see in this new area that I did, better off back here, there's only one cross support, and when I put the deck on this thing, which I'm gonna use actual deck boards, not plywood, there's going to be no support there. So I've had the C-channel laying around for a little while. So I'm going to cut this up. I'm going to add a couple cross sections in here before I start on the other side. Yay! This is like the second 100-degree weather day we've had in a row. So that's fantastic that I'm trying to weld and grind. But today's main goal is I want to get this thing on. So I want to get this jack welded in and all done. That was going to be one of the later projects that I did, but I'm getting impatient with the whole fact of lifting it, moving it, having the barrel, have to move that. I just want the thing to just stay. So I might be jumping the gun. My dad used to yell at me for that when I was little, But he doesn't know how to use the old YouTube, so I think I'm safe jumping the gun a little bit. So let's weld this up. Let's test and see if my welds are actually any good. I think we're safe. Okay, so now I'm gonna cut these, shorten in, re-weld it, get the side all done. It's literally the same thing that I did on the other side, so I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. So I'm gonna do that, and you guys can go get a bag of chips and wait for the next scene. Okay, now that I got this trailer looking back to the way it was before, just smaller, we are measuring now just under 8 feet, 96 inches. Once I add the stake pockets back on, the overall width will be basically exactly 96 inches. So I'm going to add some more cross supports in these new areas. I'm going to put the stake pockets back on the outsides. A couple other little metal fabrication points to do. And once that's done, then we can start rolling back in and getting her cleaned up, ready for some paint. Okay, metal fab complete, welding complete. We need to grind it down, sand it down, get it ready for paint. Let's talk safety because I'm learning. I'm learning a lot on doing this much metal fab. Learning attire, number one. Okay, first of all, I wear my goggles, I wear the ear things. I'm good there. Sleeveless shirt. That's a burn. Probably not very good. But let's talk about the shorts that I'm wearing right now. Let's talk about those. Are those a great idea? Let's take a little look down here. Yep, well, shorts also not a good deal. Now I'm wearing shoes, okay? I'm not wearing Crocs, not wearing flippy floppies. I'm wearing tennis shoes. I thought that was a good idea. Let's take you down there. So here's my shoe. Take off the shoe, and there are the burn holes in my socks where they went through my tennis shoes, through my socks, into my foot. Learning a lot about safety with metalwork. But I'm learning. So let's get this bad boy cleaned up because she needs to look a little prettier than that.
So right here I'm going through and I'm rotating between a wire wheel and a grinding sanding disc to get all of the loose paint and rust off of here to get ready for paint.
This is the face you make when you clean the whole thing up so you can throw some primer on it. But the sprayer that you just bought from Harbor Freight went Harbor Freight on you and it won't create a seal to spray. But you have a bunch of bare steel prepped ready for paint. So you're going to rattle can with the rattle can that you've had laying around for, I don't know, since 1936. Alright guys, let me know if this is something that you guys have ever experienced before, because maybe this is normal. Taking off my tires so I can get a better paint job done. One side is regular, normal, directional, threaded. The other side was opposite direction threads. Reverse threads, that's what I'm saying. Let me know if that's a normal thing, because I don't think it is, but I don't know. What? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so today's the day that we make this thing one color. So I went back to Harbor Freight. I got a new, better sprayer. This will be the one that I'm using. They gave me no problems in getting the new one. But the only reason that I found out the other one didn't work, and it's the same reason that I did that with this one, is just a little bit of advice. Whenever you get a new spray gun, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that it's clean. Because a lot of times when it's get shipped from the manufacturer, there'll be oils in it, and the oils will get into your paint. So whenever I use a new spray gun, I always run some acetone or some type of cleaner through it first, and that's how I figured out that that pressure pot wouldn't build pressure because it was just leaking everywhere. So I did that with this one. This seems to be working. Let's go make this bad boy one color.
And luckily for me trying to paint this day is it was basically hurricane winds, so as you can tell by all of the overspray, I was spraying into the wind everywhere, which was fantastic for overspray and fantastic for my eyeballs.
Okay, I know I said one color, and it's obviously two. Ran out of one style of primer, switched over to another thing of primer I had, which was actually black instead of gray. Ran out of that, then sent the wife Tractor Supply to get another rattle can, and was able to get the whole car, was able to get the whole thing primed up, and now ready for top coat. Now let me show you what I'm going to use for a top coat. Okay, so for a top coat, I'm going to do two different things. Up in the tongue of the trailer and on this leaf springs and like that, I'm just going to do a black paint, which I'm going to use this Tractor paint for. I've used this stuff in the past on other things, and it's very durable, and it's got a really nice shine to it. So we're going to use that on basically the moving kind of part type things. Now, for the sides of the trailer and the frame itself, I'm going to go with this Raptor. I call it a Raptor skin coating. I bought this a few years ago, a whole kit to do some running boards, and I still have half of the kit left. So I'm going to actually use that. Now this works really, really easily and well. All it does is it comes with these canisters, and it comes with a hardener. It comes with the mixing cup, which tells you, where's the mixing cup? It comes with the mixing cup to tell you how much hardener to add to each canister, and then it came with its own spray gun. Now it does make a ginormous mess, but like I said, I have had it on some running boards, and it worked really, really well. So I'm going to use that on the frame and the sides and everything like that. So that's what I'm going to do for the top coat. Now, let's do some top coat. They have no idea. Alright, let's make her pretty.
Luckily, spraying the top coat, it wasn't as windy as it was when I did the primer, so things went down a lot smoother. And honestly, this Harbor Freight spray gun I would recommend because I think it did a fantastic job. Everything sprayed well, and as you can see from these shots right here, it laid the paint down perfectly.
Alright, paint is done. So what we got left to do now is lights is up next. So as soon as I get these on, I'll bring in the shop and we'll show you what we got going on for lights. There are bugs everywhere. Alright, so let's see what I decided to go for lights here. So I went LED because that's what everyone does. So I got 10, and these are different colored running lights. These are a mixture of orange and red. I'm going to put these along the sides and the back of the trailer just so I can see it if it's dark out. And then for the tail lights, I went with these. These are just going to be my oval LEDs. These are going to be the running lights, the brake lights, and the turn signal lights. And then I just bought some wiring. So I've never done this before, so let's wire up a trailer. So right now I'm going through and I'm drilling all my holes that I need to run all my wires down the length of this rail. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill out these holes, and I'll go through with a rattle can and just give them some paint because you don't want to leave that bare steel. It's something that I should have foreseen and drilled these before I painted, but I'm stupid and I didn't. So drill them now, paint them, be good. if I know anything about wiring trailers, which I don't, this should all be wired correctly. Let's test it. Besides the center running one, which I cracked when I was putting it in, we're good to go. I do know something about wiring trailers. Alright guys, so wiring is officially buttoned up and finished. I think it actually aesthetically looks very well. All the lights function as they should. For somebody who's never wired a trailer like this, it was actually not too bad. I went on the old YouTube and I just watched other people do it, so it worked out really well. It looks really good. The next thing we gotta do is we gotta get some decking on this thing, which means I have to go to the store. Okay, let's see if I can beat the rain to get some of this decking done. But first, I want to give you 3 tips for doing decking, and that's going to pertain to whether you're building a deck on your house or if you're doing this kind of decking when you're working with the decking material. First bit of advice I'm going to give you is the way that you want to lay the board on up or down. So what you always want to lay it crown down. Now what that means is when you look at the end grain of a deck board, you can see this rainbow pattern here and how it goes down. That'll be crown down. And what that's going to mean is that when the board starts to dry out, it's going to crown. And then it's going to follow this shape. And if you do crown down, then when the water comes down, it'll run off of it. Like, cause yeah. And if you do it crown up, you're going to basically create a bowl for that water to sit and pool in. So if you can help it, sometimes boards are kind of crappy and you can't get around it, but you always want to go crown down. Second little bit of advice I want to give you is spacing, because these deck boards swell and contract with water and heat and all that kind of stuff. So what I do is you want to leave some spacing for the contraction and also for water runoff, snow melting, and stuff like that. But you don't want your gaps to be huge. So a lot of people will take paint stir sticks and use them for this. I just got some cutoffs here, and all I'm going to do is drop these in between the boards. One at this end, one at that end, and that will give me my spacing. And then that'll leave me my third tip, which is when you have a warped board. Now, sometimes you run into where you get your spacing on your 2 ends, and you'll have a huge gap in the middle, or you won't be able to because it's bananaed the wrong way. What I'll do is I will fasten both ends first with the gap, and then I will move that spacer to the middle of that gap, and I will pull it with a strap or a crowbar, something like that. Pull it to where you want and drive it down. So those are my 3 tips on some decking. I'm going to try to get this decking really going before it really starts raining. Let's montage this bad boy. Now I want to show you guys the difference that just one trim piece can make. So take a gander at this edge right here. Just like that. Looks way, way better. Okay, now that the deck is done, for the railing system, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut up some 1x to fit in these stake pockets, run that up, bolt it in, and then I'm going to take one single deck board to run up and around, and you'll see. Alright, I'm going to show you how I set my rail posts. So every one of these rail posts I have marked down 8 inches from the top. Squiggly mark so I know which ones to go. And I'm going to drop that into the stake pocket on the side. And I'm going to use that mark to see how, well, to mark how high I want it to go up. I'm going to clamp that in place. Take my square, square it up to the trailer. I have 2 pre-drilled holes here. Drill my 2 holes through my wood. Place these 2 carriage bolts through the back. And once I have them all through, I will go through, washer, nut them all, grind them all nice and smooth. So I'm going to do that, and that's going to set all of these rails at the same height.
With all your rails set at the same height, just take your boards, clamp them where they need to go, drill your holes, put your carriage bolts in, and you're good to go.
Okay guys, this was a huge project for me. I don't do a lot of metal fab, so this was kind of a huge learning experience and a lot of fun and a lot of headache. But I took this from not just not road worthy, but it's actually road illegal. If you remember all the way back in the beginning of this video, this thing was 115 inches wide, and I shrank it down. I took 6 inches off each side. I took the lights that were overhanging, I tucked them underneath. So now from stake pocket to stake pocket, we are 96 inches exactly. So the thing's got all new wiring, new LED lights, spare tire. I did a little small toolbox on the side there for all of the straps. I added a jack, all new paint. The under siding of it is all bed linered to help prevent rust. New safety chains. The inside of it has D-rings mounted all the way around for hauling. And yeah, I still do have to do some Thompson's water seal all over all of the wood and the decking, stuff like that. But I wasn't going to bore you guys with that because the trailer is functional and it works fantastically. Again, this was a huge project for me, and I think it turned out literally beautiful. So thank you guys for watching, and I will for sure see you guys on the next one.